Okay, so it's 6 o'clock.
Can you see?
It is 6 o'clock and we have a quorum. So if everyone would join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
You got the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eric's here.
Great, thank you. I see Eric just joined us.
Yeah.
So the first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Are there additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
I have one,
Okay,
and that would be under executive session, that we should spell out what the reason is for, not just discussion and possible. We should have the name, whether it's negotiation, whatever it may be, it should be in there, not specific to a name of a person, but for the object of the executive session. It spells that out in
okay.
Vermont 313, that it needs to be specific.
Well, it does say negotiations on there.
Yes, it could be for negotiation, it could be for a number of things, but it should be listed there as to what it's for, not just sort of, this is sort of a blank.
I think discussion possible, well.
No,
yeah,
if you read, I've got it here, it says specifically.
But even though we
So for
list A,
clarity,
Beg your pardon?
even though it says A negotiations, we have to be more specific than that?
Yeah, it's like there's 10 things you can put in there for that, one of those 10 things, whatever. Yeah,
So we could say discussion of ESP contracts.
whatever, yeah, sure.
Future
Sure,
negotiations.
things that are under executive session, that require an executive session, it should be spelled out as to what it's for.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right. And I'd like to add under new business, if we could add a vice chair discussion for this board. Clarence was vice chair.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to okay. So if we could add those two things, just that we will be more specific for executive session. Executive session for tonight will be for contract discussion. And then under new business, we'll add C, vice chair discussion. With those two additions, a motion would be in order to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike, second.
I'll second.
Second by Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is there any general public present? I don't see any on my screen, but
No, we do not have any at this
All right.
time.
all right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The minutes of May 26th. A motion will be in order to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Tina makes the motion, second.
I'll second.
Second by Lance. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approval of warrants. Warrants are sent to you via your email. All questions or concerns should be directed to Louis. A motion would be in order for the approval of warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants.
Motion by Lynette, second.
I second that.
Second by Tina. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Superintendent's report.
Thanks, Lisa. Most of you heard a lot of this before, since I do repeat information that we have in our local board meetings, but I first want to just personally thank the board members, the community members, our staff, our administrators, everyone who kind of helped get us through this year. It was a long, challenging year. I think there are a lot of successes. I think we were, looking back, like I said, the other nights, there, I heard a lot in September that this was not sustainable, that there was no way this would work. But I think through the joint efforts of a lot of people, we were able to make it through this year. So I just want to kind of publicly thank everyone for all their hard work, their patience, their understanding, and the cooperation in all of our schools. I think it was, a hugely successful year that we were able to do a lot of things that a lot of the other schools or districts weren't for a variety of reasons, but a large part was just, like I said, because everyone kind of pitched in and made this year great. Now, with that being said, I'm kind of glad that hopefully next year won't be the same as this year. That's while we still will be dealing with COVID in some capacity, the plans for next year right now are to return to full in-person. We will not have a remote option in place for students. There will be, for some families who are concerned about, obviously, safety or health or well-being, there will be some homeschool options, or we can work through VTVLC, but we will not have the remote option that we've had in place this past year. I know there's some question about regard to masks or social distancing. There will be no social distancing requirements, and this is all as of today. Things could, obviously change, tomorrow or next week as we get closer, but as of today, there will be no physical distancing requirements, and masks, as of right now, will be an individual choice. So therefore, if a staff member or a student or a family feels that, their child should be wearing a mask in school, they have every right to wear a mask, but as of right now, it will not be required in our schools. I also just, the AOE Education Recovery Plan, I know Lisa's going to briefly touch upon this as well, but on Friday afternoon, we did receive the approval from the AOE. Lisa and I are kind of going through, there were some comments that were made on this that we kind of filtered through. We will have a presentation in the July board meeting, GRCSU board meeting as well, just kind of go through what the plan. It is a very lengthy document, so we'll kind of condense it a little bit, just the highlights and things. I do know that from one of the AOE reps was very impressed with the plan that Lisa, the admin, the staff have put together. That is very comprehensive, is very thorough, and it was, I had nothing but a lot of positive praise for the work that was done. So, but you'll get a chance to kind of see what that looks like in a couple weeks. School meals, I bring this up because we haven't had a lot of interest, but I just want to continue to remind families, that school meals, are available at all our schools. We will not have a delivery option this summer, but we pick up only. All they need to do is contact their building principal or their the admin assistants of the schools at any time just to schedule meals for whatever reason. And lastly, I just want to congratulate, we had a lot of graduations, promotion ceremonies this year. It was unfortunate, I think, just with, the pandemic. We scheduled them within a very short span of time. I know as much as, I wanted to get to every ceremony, I couldn't logistically, and but, thanks to Lisa and a couple of the admins, we kind of divided and conquered. Our goal, obviously, will be next year, kind of spread them out a little bit so I can be at as many of these ceremonies as possible. I just, like I said, I just want to congratulate particularly our high school graduates, wish them the best of luck as they move on to their future endeavors, and as well as our sixth graders who are moving on, as well as the eighth graders. It's been a great year. Met a lot of challenges, but I think, like I said, just wish them the best of luck. And so that's all I have for tonight. If there are any questions, feel free to ask.
Questions for Chris? All right, hearing on, none. Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. I know you have my written report as well. Chris already mentioned that the recovery plan was recently approved, so we, as he said, we'll be going through the feedback, we'll be reconvening the team to review that information and make any adjustments that need to be made in our first draft effort. And we're starting to ramp up activities in that area, even as we wrap up the school year. We had great in-service in June. The feedback is still coming in, but preliminarily continues with the same feedback that we've gotten all year from the teachers, which is that the coaches and the staff who are stepping up to lead sessions and run in-service activities are really meeting the teachers' needs, giving them topics and information that is both timely and relevant to their professional practice, and that the format and structure is appreciated and helpful in their continued growth. I'm trying to think if there's anything else new in any of these pieces. Really, my giant focus for the last couple weeks, and the upcoming week is getting the CFP grant submitted. That has a June 30th deadline. I also have a Title IV report due on the same day, so a lot of grant activity this time of year for me. We had a coach meeting last week. We're planning for August professional development and starting to pull together the plan and calendar for the upcoming year. So we'll continue to work on that throughout the summer. We have 2 new coaches joining our coaching team. So working on integrating them and getting them involved in that process as well. I don't know if we mentioned this in another meeting, but at the very end of the year, I had the opportunity to serve as a judge at the Rutland Town 4th grade science fair. It was one of the highlights of my year, truly a very difficult year, in actually getting to spend time with students and teachers looking at what students had been able to accomplish. They really focused on the scientific method and the inquiry process for conducting experiments, and then they presented on them. It was very difficult to judge because I wanted many more students to be recognized than they had slots for recognizing. But I am so grateful that, you know, with the pandemic starting to phase behind us, that Chris and I will be able to participate in more events like that in schools and really get into classrooms and spend time doing the work of our work and focusing on student learning and being a partner in that with the teachers and the principals. Is a joyful thing. So just wanted to share that little ray of light at the end of a challenging year. But otherwise, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them as always.
Questions for Lisa? I would just add, at Quarry Valley, we had asked Lisa to provide for us in September kind of a summary of the expectations of coaches, what our goal is for them, how many coaches we have, buildings they're assigned to, and the process for coaches. I think that would also be good to bring back to this board in September as well, since this is a SU employee. So that, if you could do that, that would be great.
Sure.
Great. All right, moving on to personnel. We have 3 resignations in your packet. There is Peggy Filer, Priscilla Delpha, and Nancy McGill. A motion would be in order to accept the resignations. Are there any questions about them? I'm sorry.
I thought there was a new one added today.
There should be Margaret
There
Duffy.
could-
Margaret Duffy.
She's on the bottom of this one. She's on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
On the new one,
There's an
All
update.
right, I'm,
Yeah, so we have
and,
2 resignations, Peggy Filer and Priscilla Delpha, and then 2 retirements, Nancy McGill and Margaret Duffy. I think Christine sent an updated this afternoon, if I'm correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
motion by Lynette, second.
I'll second.
Second by Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And we have several contract recommendations. Were there additions to the contract recommendations in the packet this afternoon?
I don't believe so, Lisa.
Okay. So we can start and do it by review by grouping and accept all together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the professional staff. Are there any questions about the employees listed in the professional staff? Hearing none. Support staff. There are 3 new employees listed for support staff. And extracurricular, there are multiple.
Mary Ochila, oh yes.
I had a couple of questions for that particular.
For extracurricular?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I just was curious what universal design for learning is, and why is there two separate ones? Are these just basically just, oh, I see FY22 and 21, never mind. But what exactly is that universal design for learning?
So, Eric, first of all, this is in addition to Kim's role as the Assistant Director of Student Services. She will be kind of overseeing universal design for learning, which is going to help a lot with the MTSS. And I know Lisa's worked very closely with Kim on this and rolling this out. So I know, Lisa, if you want to talk a little bit more in detail about the UDL and the work that's been done and will be done in the, next year.
Sure. So this year we partnered with the I-Team at UVM, and we're actually sponsored by the Agency of Education in doing some training with our 7-12 faculty around universal design for learning. You may have heard the term differentiated instruction before, and really trying to meet the needs of all children in the gen ed classroom through a variety of ways. Universal design for learning kind of takes that same practice to the next level. So it really deepens it to be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more strategic in specific areas of differentiation, to make sure that there's access points and entry ramps and meaningful engagement participation for all in the gen ed classroom. So Kimberly made that connection and set up the workshops, a lot of connection with the consultants around bringing that to that faculty. Kimberly, Christina, and I were able to attend the Vermont Superintendents Association conference this year, the joint conference with the curriculum directors, the special ed directors, and the superintendents, and were introduced through that conference to a consultant who works on universal design for learning. Same work, same focus, same topic, but the way that she comes at it and presents it, we think really even enhances and deepens the work that we've already begun, and will be very engaging and exciting for all of the faculty pre-K to 12 to engage in the coming year. So Kimberly is taking the lead and working with them, trying to coordinate what that partnership and arrangement and training might look like for our district in the coming year, and how, it's sort of like that intersection of gen ed and special ed is where we're meeting the needs of all kids in the gen ed classroom, but including kids who have special or exceptional needs. So really nice partnership and work, and really excited to continue to work with her on that process.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So if there are no other questions, the motion would be in order to approve all contract recommendations as presented.
May I just ask for clarification that the salaries that are listed are before the contract is updated?
Are those grant positions?
No, like under the support staff?
Yes, those are
Those are
right, because we have not
salaries.
ratified new contracts, so
Okay, I just
those
wanted
might change. So if there,
So they will change the
if there will
minimum.
be changes, we can bring that to the next, next SU meeting.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up, Tina.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Nobody's made it.
There is not a motion on.
I'll make the motion then.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Lance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Motion passes. Finance, since Lewis isn't with us, if you have any questions about the documents that are in the packet, you should email Lewis for clarification. Policies, this is the second read of the F4 educational records. Any questions about the policy?
No.
Hearing none, a motion would be in order to approve the policy as presented.
I'll make the
I'll make
motion.
that first.
Motion by Eric, second.
By Tina.
Second by Tina. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Old business. Is there any old business to come before the board?
Do we have, I'm sorry to stomp you, under personnel, do we have any leave requests?
Those were actually Quarry Valley people that we already,
I do, it was explained to me that because they're partially funded from SU, so therefore it has to be approved by the SU board as well.
okay, well, we already approved their position, so it's a little backwards then. Because you already
Yep.
approved them under contract recommendations. But there's 2 leave requests. We approved our portion from Quarry Valley on Monday. A motion would be in order to approve the 2 leave requests, one from Abby and one from Lindsay.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second,
This is Seth, I will second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, old business. Is there any old business to come before the board? Hearing none, new business. Chris has requested to speak to the board about vacation day carryover.
So as per my contract, any vacation day carryover request has to come before the board, and I would like to request that I carry over 5 of my vacation days into this next contract year.
How many do you actually have, Chris?
In total, 20.
That are left that you'd have used?
I'd probably maybe 14 or 15.
I'd like to make a motion that Chris be able to take all of the time he has not used because of this year into next year, to carry it over.
I'll second that.
Okay? So we'll need a number to provide to Lewis for that.
All right.
Did you
I will work.
provide a number?
I'll work with Lewis tomorrow on that, and then I'll have that number for the board.
He thinks it's 13 or 14.
Right. Because, yeah, if you're, yeah,
Okay.
so I gotta work.
That's fine, just for housekeeping, it's a good, I just like the number documented.
Yep.
All right, so the
Thank you.
motion is to allow Chris to carry over all unused days
Correct,
from this past year into FY '22.
correct.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank
Any
you.
opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Board meeting, returned in person or hybrid. So, Monday, Quarry Valley met, and we had, kind of like tonight, 3 board members and press in person, and everyone else was virtual. We made the decision to notate central office as our regular meeting spot so that we didn't have to worry about moving equipment from school to school, but still allow the virtual option. How does the board feel about that for this board as well?
Because we
So
don't,
you have the opportunity to come to central office, or if something came up, you could still join.
right, I mean, tonight is really cool because we got PEG TV back. If they're available, I think having both options doesn't hurt anything. I just don't want to have to go through the expense of having to purchase the equipment. That's very costly. So, I mean, I like
Right.
the idea, because should a board member be out of town, they can still attend the meetings. You know, so I don't know. Now, PEG TV says they are pretty much out in the open. All we have to do is have our administrators request them. So, I mean, and I think having it, say, the meeting here, it's easier for them to know where to go. It's not as far out of their way. So that's my opinion. I think go ahead with it.
Okay, Eric has his hand.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I definitely like the idea of like this hybrid. I do miss the in-person meetings, and I find them very effective, but I'm out of state right now, so this is very convenient. So I am all for the hybrid model, but I thought at our last meeting, Greg was going to bring us information and options. So has it already been determined that PEG TV is a viable option?
So we said we were going to reach out to PEG TV to see if they were available. And in doing it on Monday night, which kind of the prior one, I'm getting like terrible back feet here. And on Monday night, we didn't have everybody up on the board. We were just on a little monitor. We talked about the fact that we didn't have to expend money to purchase equipment. And if we do it at central office, that allows us the opportunity of just using existing technology equipment that we have. And also that Greg can always have scheduled one of his tech people could be there to assist us and record it on our computer, as well as inviting PEG TV. So nothing's been decided for this board. That was what we decided for the Quarry Valley Board. We did not want to invest money to purchase additional technology equipment because what we have currently at central office does what we need to do.
Okay, so we'd be holding all the GRCSU meetings at central office in person going forward, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But didn't we also, weren't we going to ask Greg to come up with a price? I mean, you say you don't want to spend the money, but we talked about specifically asking him to come back with a price.
Right.
So that didn't happen.
I don't believe that he put a price package together. He didn't for us. Just like general conversations with him, and he mentioned at Monday night that, you know, to have, it would require a microphone for every person there that we'd have to purchase, just the amount of equipment that we'd have to purchase, that we were looking at several $1,000s. So, if that's the direction that this board wants to go, we can send that request to him, but
So,
I was under the impression that we were going to get that information so we could look at making a decision like that.
so Meredith, Greg is,
I
Greg,
don't believe that.
go ahead, Lisa.
I was just gonna say, I don't believe he provided that. He didn't for us Monday night, but go ahead, Chris.
No, Greg is trying to secure quotes for us right now, so that's why he doesn't have the information. I know in looking at this setup that we have here at central office, this could be potentially replicated in schools. If you have a school with a projector, you know, that we could, you know, just plug a computer in, and if PEG TV can, you know, so like say at Wells Village or at Middletown Springs, in one of the classrooms that has a projector, you know, as a screen, and if PEG's there, we could technically replicate this same model in each of our school facilities. You know, just would depend if that's what we wanted to do, as opposed to expending a lot of extra money. I think, you know, having PEG now, PEG TV back up and running does give a little more flexibility in terms of what we can do in each of our spaces. So, you know,
But would they be willing to come out to Middletown or Wells?
We're looking at the camera right now, so that's something which we can reach out to Peg tomorrow
guy.
and discuss that, if that is possible.
Not that I'm putting you on, I'm just.
Have to answer. He doesn't have to answer.
No.
Yeah, because I mean, central office really is very inconvenient for our local meeting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, with the boards
Right,
wouldn't have to do that,
that's-
though. The local boards,
The local boards would have to do it, yes.
here?
Not tonight,
No, but I mean, that's where they would have to do it here. The local boards would have to come in
If
and do
they
it here.
chose
No.
to.
if they chose to.
Yeah, so they could still stay in their local area.
Right.
It's just the,
And that's why they were looking for the price for the equipment. Of course, for Proctor, West Rutland, Rutland Town, here's not bad. I can understand the outlying towns.
but if we have the hybrid option, there would be no expense and everybody would still be able to participate.
Right. For the GRCSU, I think this is great for our meetings, GRCSU meetings.
So Meredith,
So does someone,
I'd make a motion that we designate the central office for GRCSU meetings with the hybrid option so that people can attend if necessary.
I'll second that.
is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And Chris, if I could ask,
So-
and have, Greg, I know each of our schools are gonna be a little different of whether on what equipment we have or don't have, and just let us know so we can decide whether, say Rutland Town, whether we have this set up there or if we come here.
so what I'll do is I'll have Greg at the Rutland Town meeting at the Wells Springs, be present, kind of talk about packages, but also look at how viable it is in each of our schools to set this up. And I also will have a definitive answer as whether PEG TV would be able to come down to, or would be willing to come down to Middletown or Wells to record. So I'll have that for our next meetings.
Great, thank you. The last order of new business is the vice chair for this board. So Clarence was vice chair of the board. So I'd be looking for a vice chair to come from Middletown, Wells, Ira area, as Lynette is clerk, so that's Rutland Town. As chair, I come from Fort Valley, so since we've merged, we've tried to have a representative from each district. So what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to nominate Eric as vice chair of the GRCSU board.
I'll second that.
Second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion.
Oh,
Oh, discussion? Yeah, sure. Is there discussion?
no, he just wanted to make sure we did it right.
All those in
Are
favor?
there any other nominations?
There you go.
That's the
Got it.
discussion.
Hearing no discussion and no other nominations, all those in favor of Eric serving as vice chair for the SU board,
Will he accept
say
it?
yes.
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 Will Eric accept it?
All those opposed?
His wife.
Eric accepted
His
it.
wife.
Eric accepted it because he didn't oppose it, so.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you,
All right,
Eric.
thank you very much, Eric.
No problem.
The next meeting for this board is July 28th, and as we just discussed, it will be an in-person hybrid option with central office being the physical meeting location. At this time, we do require an executive session for contract discussion, So a motion would be in order at 6:39 to move into executive session.
I'll make that motion. Or second it.
Motion by Lynette, second by Seth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.